Hello YouTube, 24K back with you. What you got in front of you is basically my full sovereign collection. Before I start this, I just want to give a special shout out to DogSoldier. I had done a trade with him about a year and a half ago, and he sent me these two books that were, as a gift, that were all about sovereigns and the history of the sovereigns. And at the time, I only had about maybe 8 or 9 sovereigns, and it hooked me. And here's what you have in front of you now. Just pretty interesting about these coins, and getting them in different years. They go back as far as early 1800s, all the way until today. So let's just get into it. Here's my first. And then you'll find also, like, they've got big head, there's a little head. This is a sovereign that was only for 4 years that they did this, where you flipped it. If you're a sovereign collection, you know that it's usually you just go across, but this is one of the earlier ones, and so 1886. And here's the full veil. The only one that I'm missing from Victoria is the Jubilee one. So this is in 1899. And then we got Edward. I have all the years for Edward. So from 1901 until 1909 or 1910, I think it is. And then we have George. So 1911. So the Edwards ended in 1910. And then here we have another one. This is in 1970. 1917. It's actually one of the rarer ones that I have, and it's just because they were melted all right after the war. So although there's a high mintage of those, there's different mint marks too that you have to look for, so you have to know what you're looking at. This is another rare one, 1918. The 1911 that I showed you was a Canadian. So all Canadian sovereigns have low mintages. Some of them are higher than others, but they're usually the lowest mintage out of all of them. As I said, you can notice that this has the small head, where this is the large head. And this was in 1931 South Africa. And I don't know if you'll come up, but right up between the 9 and the 3, you'll see the SA mark. Alright, and then moving on, I have a proof sovereign, 1987. And then I have the 2002 with the shield. And we have the 2005 with a different rendition of Slaying of the Dragon. And again in 2012. 2014. And then we've got a reverse shield, Vicky. Alright, and then basically the way that I do it, I just keep these because they're different than the rest in a way, just for my own collection. The rest I usually just keep them in tubes, but now you'll start seeing that they'll go in, almost chronological order according to the date. So we've got an Edward. And like I said, I have all the years for the Edward. So 1903, 1902. 1903, 1904, 1905, 1906, 1907, 1908, 1909, 1910. And here's another 1910 with a different mint mark on the back. And that's the other thing that you can collect with these is the majority of sovereigns were issued in Australia. There were 3 mints: Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth. And then in India, but they only released it for 1 year, 1918. They just re-released it in 2013 again, but with PAMP. And then you had in South Africa, so Pretoria, SA mint mark, London, which would have no mint mark, and Canada, which was only done for about 10 years. Alright, now moving on to the Doge. $1912. No two are alike. I mean, even though they might be 2 of the same years, they are different mint marks. 1913. The only ones that I have that are alike, I'll show you at the end. The book helps because I just take it with me wherever I go and just check it off whenever I get a coin, so I don't duplicate him. 1913. 1914. 1915. 1917. 1918. Just trying to show you the Indian mint mark because these are some of the higher premium ones. I've got about 3 of the 1918 Indian. 1920. 1925. 1927. 1927. 1928. Alright, so that's that. And then we have these. And I got this. I just recently picked this up. This is my first graded sovereign. It's a 1958 MS63. And now I might get me a graded sovereign for each of the different emperors, or each of the different kings or queens. And I've got the Indian sovereign, so I'll just take one out to show you. You know, the Royal Mint usually sells these for, let me take it out of this plastic thing that I have it protected. The Royal Mint sells these on their website for a ridiculous amount of money for some reason, but they're actually made by Kent and a company in India authorized by the Royal Mint. But this is the full sovereign, 2014. Should be easier to make out the eye mark on this. And it's the Royal Mint. So it's manufactured under license by MMTC PAMP India. And there's a certificate of authenticity and everything that you need to know. Royal Mint. Alright, so they make these in full sovereign, half sovereign, and quarter sovereign. Here's a half sovereign. Just to show you a comparison. And then I've got a few larger pieces. I have the 5 pounds. So it's the 1887. And recently I also picked up my first proof double sovereign. Alright, so thanks for watching, and again, special shout out to Dog Soldier. Those books of, basically, well, you can see what they've done. Thank you.